and welcome to the Scary Goals Club. I am your host, Hazel Robertson, and I believe that to make the impact that you know you are called to make in the world, it requires setting bigger, scarier goals and then becoming the person who creates them. That is what I am here to show you how to do. That's what we're diving into with mindset, tools, tricks, really simple, practical, actionable steps you can take and start applying straight away. Because whatever you believe, we have this one life that we definitely know about. Start making the impact you know you want to make in the world. Fear is not a reason to stop. We keep going. We work through the fear. That is what we do in the Scary Goals Club. So come on in, come join, hit subscribe, and let's get started. Hi, and welcome to the Scary Goals Club podcast. I'm your host, Hazel Robertson, and I hope you're having an amazing day. As you listen to this, whatever you're doing, whether you're on a walk, on a run, lying down in your bed. I don't know what you're doing, where you listen to the podcast. Let me know. I know where some people listen to it. But yeah, I'd be interested. Is it somewhere random that you listen to this podcast? And wherever you are in the world, it's so fun. And I have just, I've had such an amazing, amazing last few days, like hanging out with my son. And like on this podcast, we talk a lot about, or I talk a lot about like scary goals. And it's like, going after the life that we want and like doing the things that scare us and like showing up. And like that is, yes, part of it. And like that's what allows us to step into who we want to be and show up how we want to be and like create the changes in our life that we truly want, that like we know lights us up and like go after these. And also, like part of all of that is just enjoying the journey, enjoying the process, enjoying the tiny micro moments. I don't know if you have a gratitude practice. If not, I highly recommend it. Our brain will automatically go to everything we haven't done yet, what we haven't got yet, the thing we're working towards. And often it can snap us away from being really present. And like when you can ground yourself with what is right in front of you, what is amazing, like the smallest, tiniest little things that just sit with you at the end of the day. I don't know if you ever, again, I do this with my son. It's a really fun practice as well that you can take is like at the end of the day, as you're like closing your eyes going to sleep, is just like running through all the amazing bits of the day. Like what were the highlights? And we sometimes do this at the dinner table as well, which is also a really fun practice as well. Is like, what were some of your best bits today? Like, why were they so amazing and so powerful? And usually like what I always find is the bits that stick in my mind the most are either something about nature, because nature for me is like it's like infinite, it's unpredictable in some ways. Like you don't, whenever I go out for like a walk or a run or a cycle or like a swim or wherever it is, there's always going to be something I see that's different. Even if I go on the same trail, even if I go the same places, like there's always a new, especially with like a 2-year-old, it's like there's always a new log to climb on or like a woodlouse to find or like all of these, when you get like right down into the tiniest little things, or you notice a new tree and it's like, wow, I didn't know that one was there. And I've walked this path like so many times. And just like every time there's always something different. So nature is like a big one for me. And then the other one that's big for me is like moments of connection. So whether that is connection with myself, where I feel really connected and really like energized with a mission and with something that I'm focusing on, or connecting with someone else, whether it's like with clients, whether it's with my son in that moment, my dog, with Luke, whether it's with like family and friends, or whether it's like just random people or like people in the community that we meet, which is also really fun. Something where we do whenever we're out and about is just like, and I think having a dog and a kid, like you just chat and strike up conversations with people that you may never meet again, or they're passing through, or it's like, oh, what's here, or neighbors that you see like out and about, and just having these like conversations that are spur of the moment, you could never have predicted. And it's like you can learn something from that person, you feel connected, you feel part of like the place, especially for us, because we moved here like a year and a half ago, and it's like really feeling connected to that place. And I think just the more that you can like imagine what some of these moments are and like go through them at the end of the day, the more it's easier to notice like, oh, these are the bits that make life a life. Or like these are the bits, or like, a moment where you didn't want to do something and you felt all this resistance and you felt all this fear and this hesitation, even though ultimately you wanted to do it. And then you got the courage, you generated the courage, you stepped into who you wanted to be, and you did the thing anyway, and you leaned into that fear. And we will talk about that with today's episode on perfectionism. And like those are the moments. It's like you're overcoming something yourself. Well, for me anyway, overcoming something in myself, doing like stepping out of what feels comfortable, going somewhere new, connecting with nature, connecting with myself, connecting with other people, playing like anything. It's like as we work towards these bigger goals, these are the moments that, again, it's like every single moment of our life, like that makes up our life. So it's like, how can you bring in more moments of joy, of fun, of playfulness, of just stepping out into nature? Like sometimes I'll go out and there's trees in the back garden, and I will just stare up at the trees and just watch them sway in the wind and just connect and be like, wow, these trees are so old. They've been here for so much longer than me, and just have that connection with something else. And there were so many amazing things that happened just over the last few days. And even one of them, just being so grateful for where we live. There's amazing cycle routes, like into town. You can cycle on this old railway line along the river. The river's all sparkly in the sun. We went into the library, which also just the library was so magical for me as a kid, going in and like all of these books that you can read and this transportation to these other worlds and like imagination, and just being able to go in, hang out, read books. Like, this is all free. How amazing is that? Like, just this is so cool that we have access to these. And then on the way in and the way back, there's this amazing community garden, and it's just off the road. So it's a bit more secluded and tucked away and surrounded by these big pine trees. And it's such a sun trap. And there's these massive, big, like raised beds. And all of the herbs and the flowers are out, just lavender and bees buzzing and rosemary, like the smell of the rosemary that was mint bursting out, like all these different types of mint bursting out in one corner, and so many strawberries. It was amazing. And they were so big and they were so ripe and so juicy. And we must have eaten almost a box or maybe more of strawberries each. We didn't have a box, but that equivalent. Just finding them and eat them. And then at one point, I said, okay, maybe we'll pause there because we want to make sure that other people get some as well because it's a community garden. And then looked around and was like, oh, wait, no, they go all the way around these beds, all the way around these beds, all the way around the corner. There was so many of them, and raspberries about to come out. It just felt like such a gift. How amazing is this to be able to cycle along, like off the roads, my son on the back of the bike, eat these strawberries that are amazingly ripe and they're just there, and just be a human soaking in the sun, smelling the lavender and the rosemary and the smell of that hot, sweet pine, just smell of that like woody, earthy, summery, kind of Mediterranean-y smell almost, and just eating these strawberries. It's like life is so good right now. And that has just carried with me into today. So yeah, just feeling so much gratitude and so much awe and wonder at nature at the moment, with just summer and the flowers and the bees and all this fruit coming out, and the brambles, like the flowers are starting to go on them. We'll be able to pick them soon. And the raspberries are like kind of greeny at the moment, but they're going to come out like all the wild raspberries. And it's just such a magical time to be able to go out and forage for fruit. I mean, it's so good. Anyway, a slight tangent, but just even thinking for you, how can, like, what simple things can you appreciate? Or can you go stand barefoot outside somewhere, look up a tree and just watch it blow in the wind? Anyway, back to today's episode. So if you're still with me, I want to talk about perfectionism and three steps, I guess, like three steps that I find really helpful, my clients find helpful to be able to move through it. So perfectionism, this might look like, and see if any of these resonate. It could be waiting for the perfect, quote unquote, I'm going to put it in perfect in quotes, okay? When I say perfect, there is no perfect, like there literally is no perfect. It's this made up thing that we don't even really know what it actually looks like, so we can never achieve it. We don't have a clear image of like what perfect is. It's always evolving. There's always more it could be. So we never actually get there. There is no perfect. Anyway, so one of the ways it shows up is waiting for the perfect conditions to start. That could be, oh, I'll wait until after this, then I'll make a start on the thing. Even though you know you really want to do it and you know it's something that's important. It's like, I'll wait till after lunch, then I'll open that email that I know is important, but I've been kind of avoiding. Or, okay, I'll wait till this project's out of the way, then I'll start thinking about this other bigger proposal or whatever that thing is. Or I'll wait until it's like we put these arbitrary, or our mind puts these arbitrary points in time or conditions before we can start. It might be like, oh, well, I can't start yet until the my desk is tidy and some of these things do make an impact. Like if your environment is tidier for sure, that can help with like focus and stuff. But it might be like, no, it has everything has to be exactly like this. Then I can sit down and do the thing rather than just like, if you're really into something, you literally can sit down. I've done it sometimes. I like haven't showered. There's stuff like papers and notes and things like everywhere. And I just sit down and I'm like, I have to just get this out. Or like it just like needs to pour out of me, or I get pieces of paper and I scribble stuff out. I'm not looking at what's around me. I'm just like, oh, this thing needs to come out. When we're in perfectionism mode, it's the opposite. It's like, no, no, once I have everything neatly lined up, as in like once everything's lovely, then I'll feel motivated, then I'll want to start. Or like I spoke about a few episodes ago was the like first, it was like a replay of the first episode I ever did, which was the start before you're ready, where I talked about the perfect conditions that my brain had for doing the podcast. Was like, well, I'll wait till I get my hair done. I'll wait till I buy a podcasting mic. I'll wait till I rearrange my like background so it looks a bit fancier or whatever. All of these were excuses to have again. It's like these imaginary perfect conditions that somehow once these external things have changed, will change and feel different internally. And it's not how it works. So perfectionism is an inside job. Okay, we'll get onto that. It could also be, so this might come up like in a work sense, of like finding a perfect thing. So we can almost get into like hyper fixating on tiny, tiny micro details that literally no one else would notice. But suddenly they feel like these really big things. And so we spend a lot of time and energy on them. Like ones that I used to do, for example, would be on like thesaurus.com, being like, oh, I have to, as I was writing a report, midway through, be like, oh, okay, not this word. I'm going to use another word. And like into thesaurus.com, like getting the perfect word. Oh, wait, no, this on text that like literally someone else could review and be like, we don't need this paragraph. And I've spent like 5 minutes on one word being like, ooh, what synonym is best to put in? Or if you've ever done, maybe you've done this one yourself of like, you're going into a meeting or presentation or like there's something and you're like moving and lining up like the words on a slide and like changing color schemes on things, like getting right down into detail that probably, if you were really, really honest with yourself, doesn't actually matter. It's almost detracting from the bigger thing. It's like a way to keep busy. The other thing we can do with coming back to like waiting for the perfect conditions to start means that we put the thing off. And then often what can happen when we have perfectionistic tendencies or we go through that is like we wait for these perfect conditions to start. So we delayed starting the thing, then it becomes this bigger thing, becomes this bigger thing. So we're almost like kind of procrastinating on it. Then it's this like, oh no, I have to do it. And then it becomes this mad panic rush. And like, yes, we might get it done, but again, we're doing it from our survival fear-based part of our brain rather than like all the creativity and giving us time to like really think about it and really like make it something that's going to be really powerful. Okay. I just had to take a little pause there. I was suddenly like, I'm so hungry. I spotted a bar, naked bar. I don't know if you ever have them. They're so yummy. The peanut ones. So good. Anyway, I spotted a bit of it left and I was like, I have to eat this right now. Drink some water. And I thought, you're not going to want me munching away on a naked bar. You can just now have me picking the bits of peanut and the bits of dates or whatever else is in it out of my teeth. Okay, so there you go. So with all of these things, perfectionism basically comes up as like you're either delaying starting something, so it's like a kind of procrastination, or you're delaying completing something, also a kind of procrastination. Perfectionism is basically like a form of procrastination and procrastination is like putting off something that we know ultimately we want to do or we know is actually good for us. We're just putting the thing off. And the reason that we do it is the same. There's usually some kind of fear. Okay. So where it comes up from, and if you think like, so a lot of people, and this used to be me, I used to be like so proud of myself, like, I'm a perfectionist, thinking, I remember in interviews, they're like, what is your, I don't know, weaknesses or whatever? I'd be like, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but it means I have great attention to detail and I'll get the job done really well. Actually, I don't see it as a strength now because and I used to be like, ah, I'm a perfectionist, as in it was like a good thing. Actually, when you zoomed in, if there was like a camera watching me get a report done, and again, the reports that I was working on when I was in consulting were like going to government, ending up in the public domain. So there was an extra level of like, other people are going to read this stuff and comment on it and make decisions based on it. Like there's an element of that for sure. However, it would still be like, I'm this perfectionist. Like in panic, stress, fear, and just such a deep fear of making a mistake. Such a deep fear. And basically, if you call yourself a perfectionist, I just want to offer you to drop that label. Okay. Because when we have an identity around something, it makes it very hard to change it. For example, I am is like an identity. I am a perfectionist. It becomes this identity that then is a lot harder to change because again, our brain's like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. This is just how I am, rather than like, if you think of it instead, I am a human with a scared brain, scared of making some kind of mistake, scared of someone giving feedback that I didn't want to hear, scared of someone commenting, like whatever the fear is. So if you think instead of perfectionism and someone being a perfectionist, they've got a scared brain. And it comes up. So if you think like a lot of these actions that we take, characteristics that we do, behaviors that we do, they come up a lot from childhood. So maybe, and this was definitely me, I did very well. I was like the overachiever, did very well academically, like was pretty good. Anything I tried, I was like good at. And so I got praised for doing very well at stuff. And again, when we get taught through like the school system and the academic system is do these things, get an A, this is good, then you get praised. Don't get an F, don't make mistakes, don't fail. You know, it's like mistakes are like red penned and pointed out, and it's like, oh no. And what we begin to do, not even consciously, is we start to attach our worthiness as a human and as a person with some kind of output that we produce. So our worth, it's like, I am good enough if I get all these things right. Because we've been praised, it feels safe, it feels good to our body. Someone has said, you've done really well at this, you're amazing at this. And then we feel really good. It's like, oh, I'm safe, I'm loved when I do well, when I don't make mistakes, or maybe mistakes have been pointed out, we've got into trouble, like then it can work the opposite way. And so we can often then attach, okay, my worthiness is determined by what I produce. If someone else says it's good, if I don't make mistakes, all of these things. And so we, like, perfectionism almost becomes this way to try and control what other people think about us, what other people say about us, how we are perceived, and how we perceive ourselves. It's like, if I can just get everything right and like not make any mistakes, then I get to think I'm good enough because then other people will think I'm good enough and other people will say I've done a good job. Rather than realizing, and this is like literally, this is the work. You are infinitely, I am infinitely, we are all infinitely worthy exactly as we are. That's not determined by what we do or don't do. And then there's stuff that we do. They're separate. What we do, what we produce, what we don't do, that doesn't determine our worthiness. We are enough as we are, and we go do some stuff, or we don't do some stuff, or we make mistakes, or we don't make mistakes. Like, it's like that's a separate thing. There's like us and our worthiness and our deep amazingness as a person and as a human. Like we're enough just for existing and being as we are. And then we go do some stuff. So it's like when you can separate that out, then it becomes easier to think, okay, I could create something or put something out in the world or share something with someone that maybe I don't know all the answers to. Maybe I haven't got everything perfectly lined up, but maybe it doesn't need to be. And maybe in the interest of the bigger thing that we're working towards, sharing ideas and co-creating on something and having more an iterative process is the way this works. And it's it's a journey, like it really is. It's so vulnerable to be able to share something with someone else, put something out that is human, that maybe has a mistake in it, that maybe has a typo, that maybe isn't quote unquote perfect, and know that you are still enough and that you are still okay. And actually, that people, it's like, I sometimes get into this, and I can just because this is like can be my tendency, even with the podcasting. I think I shared this on the imposter syndrome episode. Is like I remember when I first started doing like Instagram and all those things, if I messed up or like made a mistake on something, I literally just like wanted to curl in the ball. And then it's got to the point where I'm like, no, that is just me being a human. And we all make mistakes. We all mess things up. We all go off on tangents and forget something and have ideas that we're still figuring out, and we can learn things from other people. And the more that we can show up as us, as real, as vulnerable, as open, as on and honest, it gives others permission to do the same. And it's scary and it's vulnerable to be able to share something that you're still working on or that isn't perfect to get people's ideas. But like when you can do that, one thing I have realized, and again, I've done this, I've like leaned into this more probably since my coaching journey, because it's like I can't be perfect in everything. I cannot. Like if I agonize over every word in like a post or a podcast or a something, like it's me. I would get nothing done, like nothing would be produced and go out into the world. And I'm sure if my podcasts were really like rigid and scripted and I didn't go off on tangents, I didn't do this, they'd be so boring as well. Like that's the other thing is like there is no perfect. And when we're striving for that, we're almost like dividing ourselves from being humans and showing up as we are and being like, this is real life. And we're trying to just all show up, do the best we can, make an amazing impact in the world. And sometimes that process is going to be messy. And sometimes we're going to miss things. And sometimes we're going to make typos. But like, rather than getting hung up in these tiny things, it's like when we can zoom out to the bigger picture, it's so much easier to just like let that go and be like, okay, let's do this. And yeah, and I was just looking at I have this few things scribbled down, but like because perfectionism and like when we're showing up in that way, it's so fear-based, it also keeps us in our head. When we're trying to get everything perfect, we're not really there. We're not really present. We're so overthinking. We're so like worried about what someone else might think or how it might be. We don't have our creative ideas. We're kind of keeping ourselves small because it's like, well, if I do something I've never done before and I make a mistake or I fail or I don't do it right or I get it wrong, oh, how will I like handle it? And so like we just end up having these small, quote unquote, boring lives where it's like the same things happen and we're not challenging ourselves and we're not showing up as who we really are. And we know that we could, and we're just like, oh, and it just feels rubbish. And again, going back to like what I was saying at the start, where it's like the moments where we look through, or when I like look through my days, I'm like the bits, I'm like, oh, I didn't want to do that thing, even though I knew I wanted to, but I did it anyway. Like I think of that and I'm like, yes, it feels so good. Like when the fear is there, when we want to hesitate, when we don't want to look at the document, when we don't want to start it, when we want to put it off, when we want to like polish something, but instead we just press send, press publish, put it out into the world, even though we're like, oh, it feels amazing because it requires us to tap into something bigger than ourselves. It requires us to like step up and generate courage and be like, I'm going to show up anyway, even though I don't want to. I'm going to do this thing, even though it feels really scary, and I'm going to be kind to myself and I'm going to take care of myself anyway. So, just also knowing with all of this, like, whenever there's some resistance to doing something, you want to put something off, you want to polish, you want to like over research and over analyze and like get things the perfect way before actually doing them. When you can catch that and be like, wait, this is not what we're doing, and then do the thing anyway, you feel so freaking proud of yourself. It feels amazing. And then that again is like you're proving to yourself, oh, I'm the person who can put stuff out that's a bit more free flowing, or a bit like putting my ideas down and sharing them, or asking someone for their input, even though normally I just hide and complete the thing and then send it to them for a review, but actually having chats along the way, or whatever the thing is, that's like more from a work sense. When you can actually do that and show your brain, like, you're not going to die, everything's okay, you become that person where perfectionism just, it's not much of a thing anymore. I mean, it still comes up and you can still catch it, but like you can notice it and just move through it. And the thing you like is that's on the other side of it is you're not scared, you're not hiding, you're not like when you're in, and for me, it's like when I was in that place, and I think back certainly like when I was in consulting, so scared of making mistakes and like messing things up. Not the like last year or so of it, but like before that, I just didn't feel like I was like truly living. It was like I was staying small. I was like, I know there is more I have capacity for, but like I was all consumed with the fear, all consumed with worrying about how it would be perceived, having to make everything perfect, having to have everything like visually perfect. That took so much mental energy, so much time, so much just emotional energy, like all of it. I didn't have capacity for other stuff. I didn't have capacity for like creating this other thing or coming up with ideas to do this or that. It was like, I have to get this report looking perfect. And it's like, it's not taking away from like, of course, you want stuff to be of a high standard and to feel thought about and like, well, it's not just like about rushing stuff. It's like sometimes our brain can be like, well, if it's not perfectionism, then it's just going to be a mess. It's not what I'm talking about at all. It's like, it's just dropping back from the need to grip so tightly to stuff that I promise you no one else will see or even notice, that actually doesn't even make a big difference at all. Like if they're looking for like the takeaway message from a report or something and like one diagram, and then you're like, but I've got all my this, and this lovely word in chapter 3, and like, oh, it's this perfect word. And they like have skimmed it and taken the key message in a diagram. They're like, cool, that's great. It's like, did you need that perfect word? And I'm saying this not to call you out, but like, this is me. This has been me. And I can still notice myself wanting to get into that and being like, oh, I see what's happening here, and be able to pull myself back. So, with all that to be said, I just want to offer like 3 things that can be really helpful. One of them is like a phrase, a mantra, a thought that I keep in my head that honestly helps me so much. That's number 3. Okay, so the first one, so this is like if you notice, if this resonates and you're like, oh, I do these things, it's all good, okay? We all do that. It's just understanding why you might be doing that. There's some fear there, and you can even be curious what the fear is. But like the first step with all of this is just acknowledging that it's fear. Just be like, oh, okay. Hi, fear. And it's like, I imagine almost like taking its hand, giving myself a little hug. Like there's some version of you inside from when you were a kid, or like something that's happened in your past, where maybe you were criticized for making a mistake. Maybe you got feedback at work that you missed something, and so now it's like I can't miss anything. I have to like go into all the detail with it. Like whatever it is, there'll be some, like your brain and your body are so smart and it's trying to protect you. There's some reason that the perfectionist behaviors are coming up, because your brain's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If we just like spend time trying to control everything, not make any mistakes, if we don't start it now, because what if we make a mistake? It's like it keeps you playing small, it keeps you doing the familiar, it keeps you like not getting judged by other people, not feeling like you're stepping out there. And like it feels very safe to our brain. It might not be you living to your fullest potential and like feeling like everything's flowing and you're like changing the world and using your gifts in the most amazing way. You might be like, bang, getting bogged down in this tiny thing that literally no one is ever going to notice. No one cares. And you know that's not how you want to be living. And you know that's not where your attention and energy best lies, but you're still there because your brain is smart and it wants to keep you there because it's less scary than going into the unknown and doing things you've not done before and like putting something out into the world. It's very easy to like write something. It's very scary to press publish on something. I find that with the podcast all the time. It's very hard for me sometimes. Like today, it was like, oh, I so don't want to stand up and talk. Oh, blah, 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 like all this stuff. And then I stand up and talk, and then I edit it. And then when I'm like uploading it, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just not put it out into the world again. Because I'm like, and again, it could be like, oh, I didn't follow this structure. I didn't follow this. Da, da, da. It's like, it is enough. I just decided it's enough and I put it up. Anyway, so the first is like being present with the fear and just acknowledging it and being like, I'm feeling scared and it's okay. It's okay to feel scared. It just means you're at the edge of doing something new, the edge of what you're used to, what's familiar. Like, that's all that it means. Okay. So the second thing, so this is really helpful. And especially, I'm thinking of this maybe more from like a work sense, but I guess it could be with your goals as well, is what is the purpose of what you're doing? Because again, I find this with clients where it's like they're putting something off and like avoiding it, and there's all this perfectionism stuff. And it's like they're almost imagining like a final draft of something that's like going into the public domain, for example. And they're imagining that at the start. And it's like, I have to get everything right now. And it's like, but you're 6 steps away from that. Like all the steps of like writing it, then reviewing and editing it, then sending it to your team, and then getting the comments, and then updating the comments, and then da da da, and then having whatever stakeholders or the board like to have their feedback, and then editing that, then putting it out into the public domain or whatever that is. And it's like, oftentimes our brain will go to like the final thing and the worst case. And it's useful to think of the final thing for sure. But like, what is the purpose of the thing you're doing right now? Because again, this can really help you when you're clear on the purpose. This can help you not, and again, I've done this, clients have done this, where it's like there's some meeting and it's like getting these perfect slides together. And then it's like, what's the purpose of the meeting? It's like, well, there's 3 internal people from the team, and we're basically all putting ideas down to then decide the next steps for this thing. And it's like, it could literally just be words on a slide. It doesn't have to have like a graphic and a flow diagram and like, oh, the color scheme will match the project and this and this. Like, I have done all of this where it's like the slides, spend half a day on the slides, and it's like it literally could have taken me getting my ideas. Maybe it didn't even need slides. Maybe it needed a Google Doc or Word doc or whatever with like, this is what I think, this is the next steps, da, 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 and then you discuss it. So it's like if the purpose is a discussion or like something internal, or is to check in if you're going in the right direction, or if it should be this or this, but like whatever that is, what is the purpose of the thing you're about to do? Like the next step of it, not the final bit. What is the purpose of the next step? And that will also help you to like, oh, wait, maybe it doesn't need to be this like super fancy, really polished, lovely thing. Maybe the final ones would be, and that's okay. But like, if you're not there right now, you can save so much time and energy just being like, this is actually enough. If it's to share ideas, get other people's input, bullets are maybe enough. It's like, how can you just simplify and reduce the time and the energy? So it's like, so the first one is like being present with the fear, giving yourself a hug, acknowledging it, being like, it's okay. And the second one is get really, really clear. What is the purpose of not the bigger thing, but like the next step of the thing that you're doing? And then the third one, this is the thing that I always keep in my mind and is so helpful, because again, my brain wants to get into all of the detail of something all of right now. And I remember this from like, this goes back to, I was in the loft a few months ago, my parents' loft, looking through, they'd saved some like old schoolwork. And I was looking through this story from, I don't know how old. I could write, and I could write a story. So I can't think what age I would have been, but definitely like primary school. And I started reading the story and I was like, oh, I remember writing this. And I could like see it in my mind. And I was like, it's so gripping. And then I read it. And it was only like 2 pages. Read the next page. And it was like the build up and the suspense and all of this. And then literally it was like, da 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 da. And then this thing happened pretty much. The feedback was like, great start, great intro, like kind of ran out of steam or something like that. And again, this was very typical. And I can do this if I am not careful with any project I start. If I don't think about what the purpose is and like do this next thing, which is focus on the first draft first. Okay. So, first draft first, the way I think about it is like, if it's the first draft of something, maybe it's like a report, a document, an outline, a presentation, a podcast, or whatever, like social media post. Focus on getting a first draft first, get it complete. And what it does when you focus on like first draft first, it keeps you moving. It keeps you just getting the words out, even if you'd love to go into source.com and pick another one. I don't know. Do people use the source.com anymore? That was from like quite a few years ago now. Maybe people use ChatGPT. I don't really know. Anyway, or maybe it comes up with synonyms now that you can like put in. But anyway, picking other words rather than getting hung up on like individual words, it's like get the ideas out, get the flow out, get the thing done. Then you can go back and edit and tweak and like polish and do all those things. So first draft first is like what I didn't do with this story, which was trying to get a full first draft. I was so into the detail and the this and the this of the first opening scene and what happened, and then was like, oh, it's supposed to be a 3-page story. Cool, I'll just end it now. And I've done this with reports as well, where it's like the first bit and the context setting is this. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not sure about being able to now do this like for every single like chapter as well. Or with social media posts, like can get so into like da da da, and is it this, and is it this, and da, da, da. And then I'm like, oh, that wasn't kind of really the point, and now I've kind of lost steam a little bit, and it's just like we can get so into when we get, and again, this is why it can take so long to then do something because we've put all of our like energy onto something that doesn't need done right now, which is like getting the first bit really perfect. And then we have like no energy, no capacity, maybe no time left before the deadline to get the rest of it like that. And then it becomes this mad panic. So instead, when you can focus on first draft first, it just helps. It helps me anyway, just like keep writing, keep flowing, like have an outline, be like, have an outline of like, okay, what is the first draft rather than getting like just stuck into it. It's like, okay, here's an outline. Let's just go. Let's do a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this. And then it's like complete. So you could, the amazing thing about first draft first, you could send it to someone else for their input, or you could press publish, or you could send it out into the world, or whatever it is. Or you also could go back through and then review the whole thing and edit it. And it just saves so much time, so much energy. It's like almost like have it on a post-it note and like have it when you're like writing something that you normally get really stuck into something. And then you're like, oh, I've done one bit of this whole thing. First draft first, just keep it. It's almost like keep it moving, get the ideas down, write the thing. Doesn't matter if it's perfect. You can, and it's like the thing with the first draft first is like, you can always go back and edit it later. And you will want to go back and edit it, but almost like you've got the thing done. You can be like, I'm just going to put it over here for 1 second, have a walk, have a sleep, leave it for a day. Then you can come back to it. And it's like you can see the thing in its entirety. Your brain understands what it is in its entirety. If you send it to someone else, they can see your like first pass in its entirety. And it's like you have the idea of the whole picture in your head. So then your brain can be like, oh, wait, actually, I don't need this bit. I don't need this bit. Whereas if you're just on like the first bit of it and like really getting bogged down in color schemes and graphs and whatever with that, you don't have that like overall picture of it, of like how it's going to be. And so your brain can't be like working away in the background, being like, oh, we'll do this, this will make it better. Oh, wait, maybe I'll pull this bit out here. When you have that first draft, when you're working on first draft first, it's so much easier because you have the whole of the context of the thing. And then you can always edit it, you can always polish it. But if you don't have a first draft, if you don't have something complete, you can't polish it. Like you can't share it. You still have to then write it. And knowing that like writing something, creating something, getting it out, like that part is hard. It's so much easier to edit something. It's so much easier for someone else to like provide feedback on something when it already exists. And it's just being courageous with sharing it with someone, putting it out in the world, asking someone for their input, like thinking of it as an iterative process rather than like, I have to get this version here right now, perfect right now, that literally will put up a creative block. It will put up, you'll be in panic, you'll be in your own head, there'll be fear, you'll procrastinate, you won't be able to actually do it. If it's like, oh, I can totally write a first draft. And the key thing about first draft first is like, it's a first draft. It's not a final draft. You can have 10 iterations till it's a final draft. It doesn't matter. And it's like, it's the first draft. And when you can just focus on that, it just helps shift away so many of these blocks that we can get hung up on. And it's just like, keep it moving, keep it moving. Let's go. Okay. Go and try it out. Let me know if this is something you struggle with or this resonates at all and you've tried this out. Like, let me know how you got on. And I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, whatever you're up to, an amazing week ahead. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening. If this was helpful, please hit subscribe and leave a review. This helps get this work in the hands of more purposeful people. That is, more people creating bigger, scarier goals, making an even bigger impact in the world. And if you want to take this work deeper and work with me directly, head to the show notes and I've put all of the information there. If you've got any questions or if there's anything you're like, ooh, I'd love you to talk about that on the pod, please just get in touch. I love hearing from you guys. And I'll see you next time in the Scary Goals Club.